Good morning, everyone. My name is John Heerdink, and welcome to our Tribe Public CEO presentation titled Sabotage or Success. Discover how your mind awaits your orders, which will be co-hosted by our world-renowned rapid transformational therapy expert, Nino Fincher. Nino's expertise is rapid therapy and purpose coaching for individuals and teams. Rapid transformational therapy, RTT, is an award-winning, solution-oriented, functionally integrated therapeutic method. It was developed by UK's Marissa Peer and combines a rapid, deep relaxation technique, cognitive behavioral therapy, and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. She has helped CEOs, veterans, royalty, artists, diplomats, athletes, inmates, and other therapists eliminate anxiety, PTS, insomnia, depression, and more by quickly locating the exact root of the problem. As many of you know, I am, again, the managing member of Tribe Public. Our website is tribepublic.com, TRIBE public.com. Members from 31 plus countries in all 50 states have joined the Tribe Public platform freely to gain direct corporate access to leaders and experts they care about via our webinar events and via 41 venue sites located across the U.S., where we often host community building, in-person corporate sponsored luncheons, dinners, and speaking engagements with local tribe members. Tribe members are furthermore invited to submit names of experts and leaders of industry via our free wish list process at our website, adding names of companies and experts they would like to meet to learn more. Please note that I am also the managing director of Vista Partners LLC, a registered investment advisor in California, and its website is vistapglobal.com. Kindly please review both sets of disclaimers at each site. I would also like to thank all of you for participating and for all of your questions that you've already submitted, and remind you that you may send in more questions via the Zoom chat feature during this event, and we'll do our best to get them answered. A video of this event will also be published at our Tribe Public YouTube channel and be sent out to all post the event via the Tribe This Week, our weekly e-newsletter that goes out at the end of each week. I want to thank also Nino Fincher for joining us today and feel deeply honored for having her to take a few minutes of her busy schedule to help us better understand her valuable work and her exciting career that's led her to be on my little Tribe This Week, our Tribe CEO webinar. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Nino. And if you would be so kind as to maybe give us a little bit more color about your background, who you are, and just begin into your presentation. As a reminder, folks, this is approximately a 30-minute session. Again, remind you to send in any questions that come to mind as we go along. Again, thank you, Nino, for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you, John, for having me. Mind has its own operating system, and understanding how it functions is literally a difference between success and failure. And I see it constantly in working with clients all over the world, all walks of life. And so I wanted to share with you some of the foundational principles that make a total difference in how you function day to day and how you make decisions in order to win and succeed by operating these principles. Now, again, your mind doesn't just process thoughts. It's a mechanism that is so intricate and complex. But there's a difference between complexity and it being uncomplicated, if that makes sense. In other words, it's complex and it's profound, but the way it functions, it's so simple that really understanding it will make a big difference. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is to think of those shows about the genie in the bottle. Like some of you will probably date yourselves. I'm not going to ask you a question and ask you to raise your hands. But there was a show called Genie Knows Best, I think. And then there was another movie that was made later on called Aladdin. But if you remember in both of those, one of the most important things that that a genie needed to know is what the wish was, and exact information about what the author or the owner of the lamp needed. Okay, so unless your mind is super clear about what it is that you want, it's not going to function the way you want it to function. And one of the things that I do as I coach and work with people is I have them fill out almost a page of what is it that you want out of this session. And it's quite extraordinary how many people don't know what is it that they want. I mean, specifics. So you being able to give your mind very clear instructions about what is it that you're seeking, not vague, not kind of just a general picture of what it is essential. It's so interesting. The other day, I worked with a gentleman who is a pretty famous streamer. So he works on again a famous platform, has hundreds of thousands of followers, and he had multiple frustrations that he came to me with. But one of the things that he told me was, I just want to succeed. I just want to succeed. And that was his focus. And he was struggling with inability to kind of get where he wanted. I said, well, what does success really mean to you? And he struggled to explain that. He said, well, do you want multiple followers? Do you want to increase the value of your prizes? What is it that you're seeking? Do you want people to interact with you more? And he had to really think through all of those things, and we had to come up with specifics, with the foundational specifics of what it mind really understood success to be. And so unless you have that clarity, a vague command like, I want to be the better version of myself, is not going to do anything for you. I want my business to thrive says absolutely nothing to your mind. So the clarity would be one of the first and most foundational important things that you can give to your mind in order to operate well, because your mind literally says your wish is my command. So that is very, very significant and important. Now, another thing that you have to remember is the genie doesn't judge the wish. It doesn't distinguish between whether it's good or bad. It just executes. Okay. And that is what your subconscious mind literally does. It doesn't distinguish between whether whatever you're asking for really is helpful or harmful. It just listens. And if you are convinced and convincing about what is it that you're asking for, then your mind will just literally execute. That is its function. It's your executive assistant, and it does what it's told. Again, I want to tell you a couple of stories to kind of drive these points home. Like, I worked with a gentleman who, again, is a CEO of a company. He's an oil and gas business here, and since then he moved to a country, one of the Gulf countries, and his concern was struggling with nausea whenever he would try to go into meetings with people. So, and this kind of lasted forever and ever. And when he came to me, he said, look, I think I know where it comes from. We had a food poisoning when we were in this particular country. And since then, I'm just really struggling with it. Well, it had nothing to do with that. But he wanted to have these meetings. He wanted his company to grow. He wanted to make the deals. But every single time the meeting would come around, or whether it was Zoom meeting or in-person meeting with other executives, his subconscious mind would immediately say, you don't want to go there. You're going to throw up. So even though consciously he thought that he was going after something that would build his company and help his employees, subconsciously his bigger desire was to not get sick. in front of these people. Does that make sense? And so understanding that and understanding that your subconscious mind is not going to be able to distinguish between true and false. Whatever command you give it consistently through words, whichever command overpowers, that is what your mind is going to go with. So make sure that you are aware and in touch with what is it that you're actually asking for. Another thing happens with a lot of people that I train who try to do public speaking. Oh, I want this stage, or I want to land this talk, but I hate standing in front of people. And so your mind goes, no problem, I got this. I'm going to give you a diarrhea or something ridiculous, or a sore throat. It literally is what your mind thinks and says. It goes, okay, what you really want is stay away from this, because the idea of embarrassing yourself, or idea of judgment, or idea of screwing up your talk is so powerful and profound that instead of me allowing you to go and stand in front of these people, I'm going to protect you, because that is literally what your mind is designed for. Okay. So again, your mind doesn't distinguish, it just listens and executes. It absolutely needs clarity in order to function well. Now, another rule by which your mind operates is that it needs, it will always listen to the dominant thought, just kind of like I mentioned a minute ago. But not only that, but your mind operates and functions by absorbing the images that you paint for it and the words that you repeatedly and consistently say to it. So you may have a mantra where you stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm a successful, powerful, fearless person. But when your subconscious starts shouting that you're a screw up and you'll never amount to anything, and you are just not going to be able to, do this deal, whatever the loudest and the more consistently repeated thought is, that is what your mind is going to go with. So you need to pay attention to the pictures that you paint for your mind when you say the things that you say. A lot of the people that I work with, I ended up saying that I work with people who deal with anxiety and PTSD, but those are just the symptoms of a big umbrella thing that most of the people deal with. But people who deal with anxiety, think about the pictures that they paint for themselves. They're all negative, aren't they? All the time, or regularly and consistently. So that is kind of how the balance is tipped. So your mind always listens to what keeps happening over and over again up here in a way of the picture that is painted. So make sure that you paint pictures for your mind that are vivid, clear, and powerful and positive, moving towards what it is that you really want, making them specific, making them really powerful and repetitive. It's almost like kind of trying to learn a foreign language, or trying to teach a toddler how to do a new skill, or how to do something that they keep forgetting and not wanting to engage in. So make sure that you remember that. Now,
would you mind if one of the questions that come in from the tribes, it says, I'm just going to read it verbatim here, and please
sure.
Understand that. It says, if one's mind is a genius, however, it's not open-minded enough to ask for unlimited internal limitation, in parentheses, how do you command the mind to make the next level jump to believe that you deserve the whole universe?
Okay, I would say I have no, like, I'm going to respond to you as the mind would process that. Okay. The mind would go, what the hell do you mean by the whole universe? I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what a jump means. A jump may mean I walk out that door, or a jump may mean I finally call that person, or a jump may mean I write a book and take 15 stages with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your mind immediately has all of these hindrances that shuts it down, because there's no clarity, there's no specifics, there's no a clear understanding of what it is that you're actually looking for. So break things down, simplify them like you're talking to a 7-year-old kid, and repeat them consistently in a way that they don't contradict each other. Because if you have contradictory thoughts, your mind will always, always, always follow the thought that it thinks will be a thought that will protect you. Does that make sense? So, if is that kind of what the question is, or did I miss
I
something?
believe you hit it,
Mm.
but again, remind all, any questions that come to mind, please share them like one of the tribe members just did
Yeah.
in chat feature. And again, if the particular person that asked that has a follow-on, please share that as well. Thank you.
So this makes me think of actually another person that I worked with, and this was actually 2 years ago, and this executive. Um, so she wanted to kind of wrap up her tenure with this company, and wanted to sort of start working with this incredible startup that was offering her a position, was interested in having her, and they were in the discussions. And she came to me because she said, I don't know, I don't know how to ask for the money that I feel like they should be paying me for this. Okay. And so the negotiations kept being delayed and delayed for that specific reason. Now, the most interesting thing about it is that the company was in a place where they could pay. Company, it was clear that it was going to just keep growing more. And but her hesitation to ask for it had nothing to do with her imposter syndrome, which is kind of what most people would think. But it's fascinating because she grew up on a farm, this lady, and in a rough household, and she had to earn a break by going through so many rows of potatoes. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it didn't matter how late it was. It didn't matter how much work she did. It didn't matter how hungry or thirsty she was. She had to earn to get herself what she needed desperately, which was a break.
Yeah. So,
So,
Nina, I absolutely understand. As you know,
mm,
I mentioned to you, I'm from Indiana and I grew up on a farm very similar to what you are describing there. So, yes,
yeah.
that's particularly hitting home for me as well.
Yeah. And so the beautiful thing was we worked in, and here's I wanted to mention kind of briefly about what I do in case some of you may not have a clear picture, but um, we fixed that in one session for her. All of these cases that I'm listing for you, or that I'm talking about, that were fixed in one session, which is exceptional. And the beauty of rapid therapy is that it combines traditional cognitive behavioral therapy, neurolinguistics, and hypnosis. And that allows me, the combination of those three modalities allows me to bypass a lot of the things that happen in talk therapy and go right to the root of the problem and address the very root of the problem. So when we did that was no longer an issue. She's been with this company for a year now. They're growing like crazy. It's based overseas, and she actually got double the salary of what she was thinking she was going to ask them. And so it's amazing. Now, the fourth thing that I wanted to leave you with, when it comes to how the mind operates, is uh, even in when you know, in Aladdin, whenever you tell a genie what you want, immediately the genie just kind of goes to make it happen. Now, even though it works instantly, the outcomes may sometimes take time, right? And so what I often tell my clients is that you'll get an immediate change, and most of them usually do, or it's going to be kind of a retroactive. So in other words, you will progress, and as you keep moving through, you're going to start noticing, oh my gosh, I'm not going after drinks as much as I used to. Oh my gosh, I actually got longer sleep than I have in months. In fact, I got a text message from a veteran that I worked with who If you guys are on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. That I think I posted it already there. If not, it's coming soon. But he came to me thinking that he wasn't going to make it past this year, and he was referred to by another friend of his who's a veteran and a CEO who was transformed. And he said, I just don't know, but I saw the change in him, so I'm coming in hopes that this will make a difference. So the text message I got from him the following day was, he said, he said that I haven't slept this well in months. He said, and I feel like the weight has lifted off my shoulders. So that's my fulfillment, and that's my pleasure, and that's what I will keep doing forever and ever. It's just I can't believe that I get to do this. It's so fun.
Yeah. Well,
But
just,
that's
uh, I think all of us can understand how valuable that is. Getting a good night's sleep for anyone,
yes,
as you age and are ever, has always been so important. And freeing your mind, how freeing it is when you wake up refreshed and
yeah,
clear. It just makes a huge difference. And if you're able to put
absolutely.
forward and allow someone to do that, that's pretty powerful.
I absolutely. And I'm just going to give you a brief another. I have so many stories I can talk all day, but another lady, this was again in Dubai. When she called me, um, she was talking like this, like she was barely, I couldn't understand what she was saying. And she said, I'm struggling with insomnia to the point where she lost her job. She lost her relationship because her boyfriend was just kind of done. Like he couldn't handle it anymore. So long story is that she was afraid they found a dead mouse in their ventilation system. And she was so terrified of that kind of, she thought, was what became the reason for why she couldn't sleep since then. It had nothing to do with the mouse. We handled that again, and she sends me messages since. It's been 2 years now, and she sleeps well. She got her another job, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, it's incredible, and I've done that for physicians who are struggling with sleep, who are on call all the time, and veterans who are struggling with PTSD, and all of the above. But here's what I need you guys to remember: your mind is divided. Your mind operates on a conscious level and a subconscious level. Right now, you are listening to me and paying attention. As I'm moving my hands, you're looking and watching what I do. You're catching, you're aware of the things behind me. You just saw John move back in his chair, et cetera, et cetera. That's your conscious mind. That's your constantly aware mind. And if you're making decisions and if you operate in that awareness, then congratulations, you don't need me. You have arrived. The problem is 95% of our operating system functions on a subconscious level, which is a whole lot. And 95% of our decisions that are of relevance and significance and make difference for us in relationships and in business are made on a subconscious level. And that is the problem that happens when there's a disconnect, and those two are kind of going two different directions. Kind of like I gave you an example of somebody wanting to do public speaking, or somebody wanting to lose weight, for instance, or get in shape, on the one hand, but really frustrated that they have to give up the things that they can no longer eat. So your mind goes, give up? No way. We're going to make sure you don't give up anything, because this is terrible and dangerous. Why make you give up anything? So your mind is going to go with whatever more authoritative and more powerful image and thought is, again. So just keep that in mind, and remember that your mind can do both. It's going to obey one master only. Determine exactly what you want, determine the clarity of it, and then feed your mind that in the way that it can digest it, understand it, and say, your wish is my command, and then it will execute. Okay, so I promised you a couple other things, even though I know we're getting to the end. Are there any questions at this stage, John?
Well, I think one of the questions was, what does a typical RTT session look like And,
Okay.
and can it be done virtually? So we have people
Yes.
coming from the world here on this.
Yep. I cover all over the world clients. So yes, I do a lot of them virtually, and it really makes no difference whether, I mean, a lot of people like to come see me, but virtual sessions are just as effective. And so typically with an RTT session, I ask my clients to set aside 3 hours of an uninterrupted time. It doesn't normally take that amount of time, but I give you that amount of time in case we need to process further, et cetera, get clarity, so on and so forth. Um, my client will do a session. We'll get to the root of the problem, and then I will literally transform and rewire your brain within the session. And then after the session has completed, my clients will normally get an audio recording that is customized and designed specifically to address whatever it is that they're trying to achieve or avoid or stop. And so then my clients commit to listening to that audio recording for the following 20 days. And because that is the amount of time that it takes for your neural pathways to be created and built. And so then we do a follow-up after that. And I'm very grateful to say that most of my clients haven't returned for the same issue. And the largest number of sessions that I've had to do for the same issue has been 2 with 3 different clients. So it's not very lucrative. So, if you want me to come speak for you or your company or help your company with purpose or any of the mental engagements, please bring me in. But that's what I love about it, because I'm all about speed. I'm about rapid. My coaching program doesn't waste people's time. I get you from point 1 to point B. And in fact, if you want to kind of get a picture of what my coaching program is, I want you to look up my TEDx talk that I did for Austin College. And it's called, I think it's called Out of Stagnation, or Stagnation Solution is what it's called. And it's basically the four points, which is MOVE, move. You have to create one singular movement. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to be one thing that you commit to, tiny. And then you repeat it until that is so solidified that you don't have to worry about it anymore. And then you create another movement. You have to remember that you have already overcome something that you think is a hindrance to you. That's why you're talking about it. You're here. So MOV is to identify your value. What is it that you value? What is it that you want? What is it you're going after, and why? And so that becomes the North Star. That becomes the reason for why you're doing what you're doing. And unless you really want it, then again, like the mind is going, you don't really want this. I know what you want. I'll give you what you want. And then E is the expectation. That's when your mind's capacity to really paint pictures comes in. So are you going to expect that you're going to fail, or are you going to expect that you can actually succeed and do something fantastic? That's kind of in a nutshell of what you can expect there. And finally, when it comes to burnout and just kind of how your mind gets sabotaged, if I could just give you one thing, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe, to really remember and keep in mind, is eliminate. Eliminate. You don't add more things, you eliminate things. That is how you win. Really, because if you don't, your mind starts to get cluttered. I do this, quick exercise for people to kind of really paint that picture well, which we don't have time for now. But your mind just disengages and it shuts down and just goes into a stagnant state, and then it spirals down unless you have that clarity and remove all the things that are irrelevant and unnecessary. And so I would say, I talk it in D's, like think of a decision or a decision making to get rid of something or to go after something as being your capacity to evaluate what do you need to delete, what do you need to remove out of your program, system, schedule, relationships, you name it. What is it that you need to download? So what do you want to gain, and what do you want to really keep? Where do you need to decline? Where do you need to say no? What do you need to delegate? And then finally, what can be delayed? Because everything isn't urgent all the time, right? So those are kind of the things that I wanted you to remember. Again, if you kind of feel like you're lost, I'm all over LinkedIn. Please get in touch with me there. Another thing, so I help my clients in 3 different ways. It's rapid therapy is one, purpose clarity is another, which is sessions that I do with people in transition, CEOs who are done, want to retire, but want to do something meaningful, but they're not really clear on what it is. With the student, you name it, anybody who is coming from point A to point B and is kind of blurry in between. And I use the most phenomenal assessment, which I think is the most comprehensive one on the market. And then I plug in all of the findings into your personal life or professional life, whatever it is you're coming to me for. And of course, the coaching program is a little bit more extended, but it includes both of those things. And so thank you for your attention. I appreciate letting me be here. Please ask any questions. I'm here for you. And John, I can't thank you enough for letting me be a part of this. Thank you.
We really appreciate it too. Very exciting. I've got a couple, there's a couple questions that have popped up. One is, do you and how do you do, if you do, incorporate a client's religious beliefs into the sessions?
Okay. So I personally am a follower of Christ. So my worldview of how I understand the human nature and the way the human heart and the mind are designed are founded on the principles of the Bible, but they function and the systems operate because God designed them that way. So I, none of my clients are surprised. They all know where I come from. However, my values are never pushed on my client. But you have to determine what your value is and what you are choosing to decide is relevant and important for you. So if I'm assuming that's the question. So I don't push anything on you, but all my clients are clear where I come from.
Okay.
But rapid therapy itself is not designed as some kind of a religious based or faith based system. It's developed by Marissa Peer. She is a British therapist, and she helps people across the board. And I'm thrilled to have been trained by her personally.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then another question is, I read many lives, many masters book by Dr. Weiss. Do you go into the past lives regress with clients if they wish?
Yeah, I do. When I work and use hypnotherapy, a lot of the times the reason for why today we are struggling with something is because of what happened in the past. And your mind doesn't have to invent anything. All it has to do is just identify what the relevant event is that connects with what's happening today. And so if that's what people call regression, sure, then we regress or we remember really what, where this came from. A very interesting client I had who's terrified of going over bridges. He lives in San Diego. And he's a creative person, and he had to give up a massive contract, had to give up his vet, his doctor, because he just couldn't go over that Coronado Bridge. And I'm not going to tell you everything about it, but the issue he had was having gone through the foster care hell, and some of the issues and incidents that it's his mind interpreted as suspension, if that makes sense. And so that inability to be suspended and connected with something good became a hindrance to him. And of course, we fixed that, and he sent me a video of that his friend took, not himself, driving over Coronado Bridge, a day after our session. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
one of the things, and forgive me if I missed it, but did you mention your website and how you would best, if someone's interested in getting a hold of
Yeah.
you, how would you best?
Yes. So my website is ninofit.com. It's NINOFIT.com, or you can go to ninofincher.com. Either one. And again, LinkedIn is my most prominent platform, and you're always welcome to connect with me that way. I respond very quickly. I pride myself in being very good at getting back to people.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to cut one of the things I remind everybody again. I'll send out the tribe this week. I'll endeavor to get the video up at the Tribe Public YouTube channel of this session today as soon as possible today, and I'll get that sent out to everyone. And what I would also suggest is at the tribe this week, I will include some of the information how they can get in touch with you. My e-newsletter that goes out Friday.
Good.
He's coming upon us quickly here.
Yes.
But I want to thank you again, Nino, for taking the time. It's a pleasure. I was immediately drawn to what your work was. And by the way, the way we met is through the Tribe Public process where we have luncheons, and Nina was kind enough to come out and listen to one of our speakers, and a friend had cajoled her to do that, and she was able to do that. And anyway, we got introduced, um, and I think I know why they brought her or suggested Nino come out to lunch, and it's great. One of the things in the process that I like is, again, my wish list process is where tribe members across the world send us the names, but simply adding it to my website at the wish list site, or pinging me as you all do, either by text or email or whatever. And I'll do my best to try to bring forth light to experts around the world like Nino, and continue to do so as endeavor. As you know, we've had a Nobel Peace Prize winner in medicine on the program. We've had wonderful CEOs of all different types of companies. I hope to share the video with many of them, because I think many of them can possibly work with you and benefit. So again, tribe, thank you for coming today. Again, I'll get this video up, and thank you, Nino. And
My
again,
pleasure.
please call me or ping me if you have any further questions, if we didn't get them today. And always know if there's a wish, that we can also maybe get Nino back in the future at some point on another tribe event, if there's additional interest. So do express interest if you'd like to have a follow-up today. So thank you so much, Nino.
Good. My pleasure. Thank you for letting me join you, everyone.
All the best. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.